Dr Bronwyn King is trying to change the world.
I'm going to come and play that. That is one of my favourite games.
But first, she needs to catch a plane and squeeze in a quick board game with her boys.
Should we do FaceTime?
Yep. Oh, what's the time difference got to be? 10?
Oh, I don't know. Everything. We will make it work. See you later.
See you later.
Okay, bye everyone. Bye.
Over the past year, she's been around the world 6 times and to New York and Paris 5 times each. She's on a mission to convince major financial institutions to drop their investments in cigarette companies.
If we invented the finance system today, banks wouldn't automatically lend money to tobacco companies, and our super funds or global pension funds wouldn't invest in tobacco companies, and insurers wouldn't insure them. We simply have to undo what has been established as the status quo. How's it been going?
It's getting easier.
As an oncologist, Bronwyn King has treated hundreds of patients with lung cancer.
Lung cancer is a dreadful disease. It's a dreadful diagnosis to have, and tragically, it's the vast majority of lung cancers are because of tobacco.
Her crusade for a tobacco-free finance system began 10 years ago when her financial advisor casually mentioned that her super fund invested in cigarette companies.
And I said, "So you're telling me I'm currently investing in tobacco?" And he said, "Oh yes, everyone is." That was my moment.
She began pressuring her own superannuation fund to divest from tobacco. It snowballed from there.
Now 45 of our super funds here have decided to go tobacco-free and have moved away from investing in tobacco. We've also seen some of our banks stop lending money to tobacco companies and some of our insurers stop insuring tobacco companies. 7 million people across the world have died as a result of tobacco in the past year alone. Just imagine if a brand new industry were launched today and by the end of next June, that industry's products had killed 7 million people.
Straight away, we were just struck with how passionate she was, how inspirational she was in terms of wanting to achieve what she planned to achieve.
Hester, the health workers super fund, was one of the first to get rid of all its tobacco investments after lobbying from Dr King.
There's lots more work to be done in the space, and even in Australia, half of the super funds in Australia still invest in tobacco, so there's more work to be done here. But if we look globally, only about 10% of the world's top 300 pension funds do not invest in tobacco. So there's an enormous amount of work to be done.
And Dr King is now turning her focus to the rest of the world.
Hello, I'm now in Singapore. I've just arrived in Amsterdam. It's Marrakesh to Paris today. I'm off to New York today, very excited to get there. I'm now leaving Gastein. I made it to London on time. In 2016, we took our first global step, and that was working with the global insurance giant AXA. And when they went tobacco-free, they got rid of $2.8 billion worth of tobacco security.
What countries do you find most resistance in?
The countries where things are tricky are the UK and the USA. Both of those countries have very big local tobacco companies. They're also very, very big financial markets with very complex finance systems. And so we are trying to change the system, so of course it's going to be difficult.
Is the tobacco industry getting nervous? Please, Dr King.
Thank you so much. It's a great pleasure to be here.
Bronwyn King's crowning achievement was in September when she ran an event at the UN General Assembly.
It's called the Pledge, the Tobacco-Free Finance Pledge, and a whole series of miracles occurred, and President Macron and Prime Minister Turnbull at the time signed off so that we could actually make the event happen at UN headquarters.
Since she started her organisation, Tobacco Free Portfolios, at least $17 billion has been shifted out from tobacco companies all around the world. All that from an organisation which has a part-time staff of 4.
Well, good morning. How are you, little guys? Are you good?
You've got 2 little kids, you've got a medical practice, you've got this job. How does it actually work?
Well, it doesn't really. It's just a complete chaos. It's just complete chaos. But we just manage. It is a sacrifice for my family, and I do think of that. And everyone says mothers feel guilty the moment the baby's born. We start to feel guilty. So I definitely feel guilty about not being there all the time for the kids. But at the same time, I really hope that one day through this work, the world will be better, and one day they will feel very happy that their mum had something to do with that.